"Ethan, I like you," Lily Carter said in front of the whole senior hallway, and the place exploded like somebody had dropped a firecracker into a trash can. Lockers slammed, phones came up, somebody laughed so hard he hit the trophy case with his elbow. Lily stood there with both hands gripping the straps of her faded backpack. Her face was pale, but she did not run. Derek Walsh leaned against the college counseling board and laughed loud enough for teachers to hear. Derek shouted, "No way." Last place. Lily just confessed to Ethan Miller. Audrey Hart covered her mouth with one hand, but her eyes were smiling. Audrey said softly, "Lily, this is not the best time. Ethan has college applications to think about." I looked at the recommendation list taped behind Derek's shoulder. My name was on it for the National Scholar exam. Audrey's name was right under mine. Lily's name was nowhere. Because Lily ranked last in our senior class and the whole school treated that like her full legal name, Lily Carter. Pretty face, empty grades, walking disaster, that was what they called her. Derek stepped forward and pointed at me. Derek laughed. "Come on, Ethan, say something, don't let her stand there begging, or maybe you want to date the girl who failed basic algebra twice." The hallway laughed again. Lily's fingers tightened on her backpack straps. Audrey stepped closer, using that gentle voice that made adults trust her. Audrey said, "Ethan, don't make this cruel, just tell her you're focused on your future." I turned toward Lily. Her eyes were wet, but she kept her chin up. In my last life, I had looked away from her. I had let the hallway laugh. I had chased Audrey's approval, carried Audrey's applications, fixed Audrey's essays, and watched Lily vanish from school before graduation. Years later, I had seen Lily Carter on a national stage, holding a patent award, standing beside a machine that made rich investors fight for her signature. In that life, reporters called her a self-taught engineering genius. Westbridge High had called her stupid. I stepped past Audrey and stopped in front of Lily. Derek laughed harder. Derek said, "Don't tell me you're actually considering it." I held out my hand to Lily. I said clearly, "Yes." The hallway cracked into silence. Lily blinked. Lily whispered, "Yes." I took her backpack from one shoulder before it slipped. I said, "Yes, Lily, I'll go out with you." Somebody near the lockers shouted, "He lost his mind." Derek's smile disappeared, then came back meaner. Derek said, "Miller, you just tied your future to dead weight." I turned around. I said, "Dead weight doesn't scare me. People who judge weight by report cards do." Audrey's lips tightened. Audrey said, "Ethan, this is not like you." I looked at her. I said, "No, this is exactly like me now." Mr. Grant, our college counselor, pushed through the crowd with a folder in his hand. Mr. Grant snapped, "Enough, everyone to class." Derek pointed at Lily. Derek said, "You should remove her from this hallway before she embarrasses the school more." I stepped between them. I said, "Say her name right." Derek scoffed. Derek said, "Last place Lily." I stepped closer. I said, "Lily Carter." Mike Reynolds shoved his way through the crowd and stopped beside me, holding his phone up. Mike said, "Repeat it, Derek. Camera loves rich boys bullying girls before first bell." Derek stared at the phone. "Mr. Grant barked, "Mr. Reynolds, put that away." Mike said, "Sure." As soon as Derek learns English. Lily tugged my sleeve. Lily whispered, "You don't have to do this." I looked at her and said, "I already did." The bell rang. Nobody moved for 3 seconds. Then the hallway broke apart in waves of whispers, laughter, and phones typing faster than teachers could stop them. Audrey stayed by the counseling board, staring at me like I had stepped off a cliff and refused to fall. By second period, the whole school had a name for us, Trash Couple. Somebody wrote it on the corner of my desk in English class. I took a marker from my bag, crossed it out, and wrote, "Try harder." The class laughed, but not the way Derek wanted. Audrey sat 2 rows over, perfectly straight, perfectly quiet. Ms. Harper walked in with a stack of practice tests and saw the desk. Ms. Harper said, "Who wrote that?" Nobody answered. She looked at me. Ms. Harper said, "Ethan." I said, "I improved it." Mike choked on a laugh. Ms. Harper looked at the class. Ms. Harper said, "Then everyone can improve their scores." Phones away. After class, Audrey stopped me near the door. Audrey said softly, "You're making a statement, aren't you?" I put my notebook in my bag. I said, "I answered a question." Audrey folded her arms. Audrey said, "Lily needs help, not a boyfriend. You know how people will see this." I said, "People already showed me how they see it." Audrey stepped closer. Audrey said, You're one of the strongest applicants in this school. Dating the bottom-ranked senior before college decisions is reckless. I looked over her shoulder. Lily stood by the water fountain, pretending not to watch. Derek stood 10 feet behind her with 2 football players, making a fake crying face. I said, "Funny, when you needed me to review your essays, I was smart enough. When I choose someone you don't approve of, I'm reckless." Audrey's face went still. Audrey said, "That's unfair." I said, "No. It's new." I walked past her to Lily. Derek clapped slowly. Derek said, "Here comes the hero." Lily turned away, cheeks red. Derek leaned down toward her. Derek said, "You better not drag him below community college. Some of us still care about school rankings." I stopped beside Lily. I said, "Derek, your last practice SAT was lower than Mike's." Mike appeared behind me with a granola bar in his mouth. Mike said, "And I guessed on a whole reading passage because it bored me." The football players laughed before Derek glared them. "Quiet," Derek snapped. "My college is handled." I said, "That's not the flex you think it is." Lily covered her mouth. It was small, but she almost laughed. Derek saw it and his face darkened. Derek said, "Enjoy tutoring your charity case." I said, "Enjoy buying your personality wholesale." Mike slapped the locker. Mike shouted, "Clearance rack." A teacher opened a classroom door and yelled at us to move. I walked Lily to the library instead of the cafeteria. She sat across from me at a corner table and kept her eyes on the scratched wood. Lily said quietly, "You shouldn't have said yes because you felt bad." I opened my backpack and pulled out a broken mechanical pencil, a folded sheet of graph paper, and 3 loose metal washers from the garage. Lily stared at them. Lily said, "What are you doing?" I placed the washers on the graph paper in a crooked triangle. I said, "Move one washer so the triangle becomes stable on a spinning plate." She blinked. Lily said, "What?" I pushed the paper toward her. I said, "No grades, no teacher, no timer, just solve it." She looked at me like I had spoken another language. Then her hands moved. She slid one washer a 1/4 inch, stopped, moved it back, then rotated the paper. Her shoulders lowered. She took my pencil and drew 2 lines from the center, then a third. Lily said, "The weight is wrong here. If it spins clockwise, this one pulls out first. You need the heavy point closer to center, but not equal, because the plate will wobble." I said, "Show me." She drew 3 small arrows and tapped the center mark twice. Lily said, "Like this." I looked at the paper. She had solved the same balance problem that half the engineering club had missed in my last life. Lily shoved the paper back suddenly. Lily said, "Was that stupid?" I slid it into my folder. I said, "No, that was the first honest answer I've heard all day." At lunch, the school forum turned into a sewer. Mike showed me his phone while chewing fries. The top post read, "Ethan Miller throws away Ivy shot for last place." Lily, another said, "Pretty face, empty brain, new boyfriend." A photo of me taking Lily's backpack had already been edited with a cartoon chain around my neck. Mike said angrily, "Want me to report them?" I took the phone and scrolled. Audrey had not posted, but Amber Lee, her closest friend, had commented. Some people confuse pity with romance. Derek posted a laughing emoji and a trash can. I handed the phone back. I said, "Print screenshots." Mike grinned. Mike said, "Evidence folder." I said, "Always." Lily sat beside me with a yogurt cup she had not opened. She whispered, "You don't need to fight the whole school." I said, "I'm not fighting the whole school." Derek walked past our table and dropped a crumpled worksheet onto Lily's tray. Derek said, "Found your math homework." "Oh wait, it was in the trash where your GPA lives." A few seniors laughed. Lily froze. I picked up the worksheet. It had a big red 31 at the top. I looked at the problems. Every answer was wrong, but every diagram in the margins was neat, detailed, and strangely precise. I held it up. I said, "Derek, what's the center of mass in problem 6? Derek smirked. Derek said, "I don't do loser worksheets." I said, "Then why are you talking like a teacher?" He leaned toward me. Derek said, "Because I know enough to spot a lost cause." I placed the worksheet flat and pointed at Lily's margin drawing. I said loudly, "She drew the right physical model. The formula they gave her was wrong for the diagram." The cafeteria quieted a little. Derek rolled his eyes. Derek said, "Sure, last place is secretly Einstein, MS. Harper, passing with her coffee, stopped behind him. MS. Harper said, 'Let me see that.' I handed her the worksheet. She studied problem 6. Her brow shifted. MS. Harper said. The printed diagram is mislabeled. Derek's smile twitched. MS. Harper took out a pen, corrected the axis, and looked at Lily. MS. Harper said, you noticed this? Lily gripped the edge of the table. Lily said, the picture didn't match the numbers. MS. Harper looked at the sheet again. MS. Harper said, that is correct. Mike slapped the table. Mike said, last place just fact-checked the worksheet. Derek snapped, one lucky doodle. MS. Harper looked at him. MS. Harper said, Mr. Walsh, your tray is getting cold. The cafeteria laughed. Derek walked away, stiff-backed. Lily stared at MS. Harper like she expected a trick. MS. Harper gave the worksheet back. MS. Harper said, come see me after school. Lily swallowed. Lily said, am I in trouble? MS. Harper said, no, I want to see how you think. After school, Lily almost ran from MS. Harper's room twice. I stood by the door until she went inside. MS. Harper had cleared one table and set out blocks, rubber bands, a ruler, and a small battery-powered fan. Mike came too because he said he wanted to witness the academic exorcism. MS. Harper told him to sit down and stop naming things. She placed 2 blocks under a flat board and turned on the fan. The board shook and tipped. MS. Harper said, stabilize it with only these materials. Lily looked at me. I said, no timer. She stood there for 20 seconds, then picked up the rubber bands. She did not use the ruler to measure length. She used it as a lever. She moved 1 block diagonally, looped the bands under the board, and angled the fan slightly away. The board stopped shaking. MS. Harper leaned forward. MS. Harper said, why did you move the fan? Lily said quickly, because the push was not the problem by itself. The shaking came from the corner lifting first. If the air hit straight, the band pulls too late. MS. Harper picked up her notebook. MS. Harper said, again. She changed the setup. Lily solved it. She changed it again. Lily solved it faster. Mike whispered, she's not bad. She's just allergic to worksheets. Lily heard him and laughed once. MS. Harper gave her a printed algebra problem. Lily went stiff again. She stared at the symbols and her pencil barely moved. MS. Harper took the paper away and drew the same problem as a shape puzzle. Lily solved it in under a minute. MS. Harper sat back. MS. Harper said, Lily, has anyone tested you this way before? Lily shook her head. Lily said, they just said I was careless. MS. Harper looked at me. MS. Harper said, how did you know? I picked up my bag. I said, I paid attention. Mike stared at me. Mike said, that sounded way cooler than your usual answers. Lily looked at the table, then at me. Lily said softly, why? I zipped my bag. I said, because everybody else was too busy laughing. MS. Harper kept Lily for another 20 minutes. When we left, the sun was low over the parking lot and Derek's black SUV sat near the curb. Audrey stood beside it with a folder in her arms. Derek called out, so, did Harper confirm she's secretly a genius? Audrey gave him a warning look, but she did not stop him. I said, she confirmed you talk too much. Derek opened his door. Derek said, you're embarrassing yourself for a girl who won't graduate without a miracle. Lily flinched. I stepped forward. I said, then start praying. Derek laughed and drove off. Audrey stayed. Audrey said, Ethan, I need to talk to you about the National Scholar Practice Packet. We used to review together every Thursday. I said, not anymore. Audrey blinked. Audrey said, you're serious? I said, yes. Audrey lowered her voice. Audrey said, you're choosing this over your own preparation. I held up my own packet. I said, I can prepare without doing yours. Audrey's face flushed. Lily watched silently. Audrey said, I never asked you to do my work. I said, you asked me to make it better until it sounded like you. Mike coughed. Audrey looked at him, then back at me. Audrey said coldly, fine, good luck with your project. She walked away. Lily waited until Audrey was out of earshot. Lily whispered, you don't have to lose friends for me. I said, I didn't lose one. The first open fight over the National Innovation Team came that Friday. Westbridge announced tryouts for a statewide engineering challenge that fed into the national finals. Mr. Grant controlled the school recommendation form, and he liked clean stories, honor students, polished families, students who made brochures look expensive. Lily came to the sign-up table with me and wrote her name in shaky letters under mine. Mr. Grant saw it and laughed before he could stop himself. Mr. Grant said. Lily, this competition is extremely demanding. Lily capped the pen. Lily said, I know, mister. Grant smiled the way adults smile when they want a kid to sit down and disappear. Mister, Grant said, maybe start with peer tutoring, build from there. I stepped beside Lily. I said, the form says open tryout. Mister. Grant looked at me. Mister. Grant said, Ethan. Leadership includes understanding team fit, I said, then test fit. Derek, standing nearby with Audrey and 2 Honor Society students, clapped once. Derek said, please test her, I want to watch. Audrey said softly, Derek. He grinned. Derek said, what, fair is fair, ms. Harper came down the hall carrying a laptop, ms. Harper said, I can administer a practical skills task, mister. Grant's smile weakened. Mister. Grant said, that won't be necessary. I said, it is now. A crowd formed within minutes. The task happened in the physics room. Mister. Grant set out a bridge building kit and gave everyone the same challenge, build a structure from thin sticks and glue that could hold a metal weight across a gap. Derek joined just to show off. Audrey joined because cameras were out. Lily stood beside me, staring at the materials. Derek whispered loudly, glue the sticks together. Lily, that's the whole trick. Mike, filming from the back, said, amazing analysis from a man whose dad bought the science wing, mess. Harper told him to be quiet. The timer started. Derek built fast, thick, and ugly. Audrey built clean and symmetrical. Most students copied a standard triangle pattern. Lily did not touch the glue for 5 minutes. Mister. Grant checked his watch. Mister. Grant said, planning is useful, but execution matters. Lily picked up 3 sticks, snapped one in half, and angled the pieces unevenly. Derek laughed. Derek said, she broke her bridge. Lily kept moving. She built a crooked-looking frame that made no sense from the front. From the side, it had a twist that redirected weight into the base. I watched ms. Harper's face change. Testing began. Derek's bridge cracked at 8 pounds. He blamed the glue. Audrey's held 12, a junior's held 15, Lily's ugly frame held 20, then 25. At 30 pounds, one joint creaked, but the frame stayed up. The room went silent. Mister. Grant leaned down. Mister. Grant said, that can't be stable. Lily pointed at the side. Lily said, it's not stable if you push straight down in the middle, but the weight isn't straight, your hook pulls forward. I turned the weak point into a brace. Ms. Harper smiled for the first time all day. Ms. Harper said, she's right. Derek snapped, she got lucky again. I looked at him. I said, your bridge got lucky too. It died fast. The room laughed. Mister. Grant cleared his throat. Mister. Grant said, Lily may attend the first team meeting as a provisional member. I said, no, mister. Grant stared. I said, she earned a spot. Say it right. Ms. Harper folded her arms. Mister. Grant looked around at the phones. The broken bridges, the unbroken crooked frame. Mister. Grant said tightly, Lily Carter has earned a team spot. Lily looked down at the bridge like it might disappear if she stared too hard. Mike shouted, last place just carried the table. Derek kicked a broken stick across the floor and walked out. That night, Audrey's crowd started the next attack. The forum post said I had rigged the tryout. Another said Ms. Harper was giving Lily special treatment because I was her favorite student. Derek posted a photo of Lily's old report card with every failing grade circled in red. The caption read, one bridge doesn't fix stupid. I was at the kitchen table when Mike sent it to me. Dad sat across from me eating leftover chili after a 12-hour route. Mom stood by the sink in her hospital shoes. I showed them the post. Mom's face hardened. Mom said, that girl did nothing to them. Dad took the phone, looked at the comments, and handed it back. Dad said, bullies hate a scoreboard they can't control. I opened my laptop and made a new file, not an angry post, a record, Lily's bridge test, the corrected worksheet, the shape puzzle, the practical tasks. Ms. Harper's signed note that Lily had a non-traditional problem-solving profile and deserved evaluation through practical demonstration. I sent copies to Principal Marsh and Dr. Levin at the district office. Then I posted one short message on the forum under my own name, if you want to mock Lily's grades, show your own tryout result. First, Mike replied in 9 seconds, Derek's bridge died at 8 pounds, funeral Saturday. By morning, the joke had turned. Students posted bridge memes. Somebody drew Derek's bridge with a tombstone. Lily still got laughed at. but now Derek got laughed at too, and that bothered him more. He found me before first bell near the gym doors. Derek shoved a printed meme against my chest. Derek snarled, "You think you're funny?" I let the paper fall. I said, "Mike's funny, I'm accurate." Derek stepped close. Derek said, "You're going to regret making me look bad." I pointed at the camera above the gym doors. I said, "Make yourself look worse." He looked up. Mike shouted from the stairs, "Camera angle is great, strong villain lighting." Derek turned toward him. Vice Principal Cole came out of the gym office. Cole said, "Derek, move along." Derek backed off. But he pointed at Lily as she walked in. Derek said, "She'll choke when it counts." Lily stopped. Her hands shook once, then stilled. Lily said clearly, "Your bridge already did." The hallway burst. Mike bent over laughing. I smiled at Lily. Derek's face went red. He stormed away while the bell rang over his head. The cheating setup came 2 weeks later. It was clumsy, cruel, and exactly Derek's style. Lily had started staying after school with MS, Harper and me. We were rebuilding her math from the ground up through shapes, motion, and practical problems. She still missed basic algebra when it looked like a wall of symbols, but when the same question became a gear ratio or a water flow model, she solved it faster than most honor students. Her first small quiz jump was from a 42 to a 68, then a 74. People noticed. Audrey noticed most. She stopped smiling at Lily in hallways. Derek stopped calling her stupid and started calling her a cheater. On a Thursday morning, Principal Marsh called Lily to the office during second period. Mike texted me from English, "Bad." Derek's crowd smirking. I asked for a bathroom pass and went straight to the office. Lily sat outside Principal Marsh's door with her hands folded tight. A folded answer key lay in a plastic sleeve on the secretary's desk. Mr. Grant stood near it. Derek leaned against the wall with fake concern on his face. Audrey stood beside him, eyes lowered. "Mr. Grant said, Ethan, this does not concern you." I looked at Lily. I said, "Are they saying you cheated?" Lily nodded once. Derek said, "An answer key was found in her locker." Sad but not shocking, Audrey said softly, "Ethan, don't make it worse." I took out my phone. "Mr. Grant snapped, "No recording." I said, "Then bring in MS Harper." Principal Marsh opened her door. Principal Marsh said, "She's already on her way." Mr. Grant frowned. Principal Marsh looked at me. Principal Marsh said, "You may wait, but do not interfere." I said, "I won't. I'll provide evidence." Derek laughed. Derek said, "Of course you have evidence." I turned to him. I said, "Yes." His smile flickered. MS Harper arrived with a laptop and a flash drive. Mike arrived right behind her pretending to deliver attendance sheets. Principal Marsh looked at him. Mike said, "Office aide emergency." Cole took the sheets from him. Cole said, "You are not an office aide." Mike said, "Not with that attitude." Principal Marsh said, "Mr. Reynolds, sit down and be quiet." Mike sat. I opened my phone and showed the time-stamped photo I had taken 2 days earlier after Lily's locker had been vandalized with a trash sticker. In the corner of the photo, Derek's friend Tyler was visible near the locker with a folded paper in his hand. Then MS Harper opened hallway camera footage. Tyler came by at 7:18 a.m., bent down, and slipped something through Lily's locker vent. Derek walked past 12 seconds later and looked straight at the camera. Principal Marsh replayed it once. Nobody spoke. Lily stared at the screen. Derek said, "That could be anything." I said, "Then let's ask Tyler." Tyler was pulled from gym 9 minutes later. He lied for 40 seconds, then Principal Marsh told him the camera had audio from the hallway mic because of a previous vandalism issue. It did not. Tyler folded anyway. Tyler said, "Derek told me it was a prank." Derek shouted, "You little idiot." Audrey stepped back from him. Principal Marsh stood. Principal Marsh said, "Derek Walsh, you are suspended pending investigation." Tyler, "You too?" Derek pointed at me. Derek shouted, "You set this up." I said, "No, I watched you be predictable." Lily stood slowly. Her voice shook, but she used it. Lily said, "You put answers in my locker because you couldn't beat me with a bridge." Derek lunged forward 1 step. Cole blocked him. Derek shouted, "You're still last place." Lily looked at him. Lily said, "Then why are you scared?" The office went silent. Mike whispered, "Damn." Principal Marsh pointed toward the outer door. Principal Marsh said, "Out, now." Derek left shouting for his father. Audrey stayed behind, pale and silent. I looked at her. I said, "You knew," Audrey whispered. "I didn't know he planted it," I said. "But you knew he was going after her." Audrey said nothing. Lily walked past her without looking back. After that, Lily changed, not all at once. She still flinched when people laughed. She still crossed out correct answers because they looked too simple. She still apologized when she took up space at the team table. But she also started answering. When someone called her a charity project, she said. Then donate silence. When a sophomore asked if I did her homework, she said, "No, he checks my work after I do it wrong." Loudly, Mike started calling her Bridge Queen, and the name stuck in a way Derek hated. The innovation project grew around her skill. I had planned a low-cost modular irrigation system for small farms, built from salvage parts and cheap sensors. Lily looked at my water flow model and said the pump layout wasted pressure on turns. She drew a new routing system on butcher paper with colored markers. MS. Harper stared at it. MS. Harper said, "This reduces friction loss." Lily said, "I don't know that word. I just know the water is fighting the corners." I said, "That word is friction loss." Lily wrote it down. The next prototype worked better. We tested it at Lawson's garage in a plastic tub while Mr. Lawson watched from behind a truck hood. He scratched his beard and said, "The girl who failed algebra fixed your pump." Lily froze. Mr. Lawson pointed at the water stream. Mr. Lawson said, "Good, algebra had it coming." She laughed so hard she had to sit down on an oil crate. By spring, my National Scholar practice scores were sitting at the top of the state leaderboard. Lily's math grade climbed from failing to a C, then a B- on a practical reassessment. MS. Harper fought to get approved. Derek came back from suspension quieter, but not smarter. Audrey began hovering again. She asked me for my old practice packets. I told her no. She asked Mike. Mike laughed for 11 seconds. Then came the state innovation qualifier. Westbridge rolled in with 3 teams. Audrey led a polished presentation on educational access. Derek, still allowed to observe because his father threatened the district, stood near the back in a blazer. Lily wore a simple blue dress under a borrowed cardigan from my mom, because she said all her own good clothes made her look like she was trying too hard. I carried the project case. Mike carried snacks and called himself logistics. Audrey presented before us. Her slides were clean. Her voice was perfect. She talked about equity, opportunity, and peer uplift. She did not mention that she had mocked Lily for needing both. Judges nodded politely. Then one judge asked, "What data did you collect yourself?" Audrey clicked to a slide. Audrey said, "We conducted peer interviews." I recognized 2 charts. They looked like charts from a public report I had used in sophomore year. Same colors, same order. Different title. I said nothing, not yet. Then Derek's friend Tyler appeared near our table, pretending to look at the device. Mike stepped in front of him. Mike said, "Touch it and I'll staple your suspension letter to your forehead." Tyler backed away. Lily checked the pump lines twice. Her hands were steady. When our turn came, I started the presentation. I kept it plain. Small farms, cheap repairs, water savings. Lily stepped up for the layout explanation. Derek laughed under his breath. Lily heard it. She turned toward the judges and lifted our clear pipe model. Lily said, "The first version worked, but it wasted pressure because the water kept hitting turns like a bad hallway, so I changed the path." A few people smiled. She pointed to the colored routes. Lily said, "This line looks longer, but the water fights less. The pump works easier. The cheap motor lasts longer." Judge Patel leaned forward. Judge Patel said, "Did you calculate the efficiency gain?" Lily looked at me. I handed her the chart she had built with MS. Harper. She swallowed. Lily said, "Yes, sir, 18% average improvement over 5 tests." Judge Patel said, "And who designed the routing change?" Lily looked at the audience. Derek stared. Audrey stared. Lily said, "I did." The words landed clean. Our device ran without a stutter. Water moved through the tubes in smooth pulses. The judges asked 14 questions. Lily answered 5. I answered 7. Mess. Harper answered none because she was not allowed, but her face looked like she wanted to frame the moment. We won state. Audrey's team placed 4th and did not advance. Her smile cracked on stage. Derek walked out before photos. Mike shouted, "Bridge Queen goes national." Lily held the plaque like it might burn her hands. Judge Patel shook her hand. Judge Patel said, "You have strong engineering instincts." Lily said, "Thank you, sir." She walked back to me and whispered, "Did he mean it?" I said, "He said it." She looked at the plaque again. Lily said, "Then I'm keeping it." The week after state, the school treated us like a headline it had always believed in. Principal Marsh put our photo on the website. Mr. Grant, still stripped of recommendation authority, avoided the hallway where it was displayed. Audrey stood in front of the photo one morning with Amber. Amber said loudly, "Some people get lucky once and call it talent." Lily walked up beside me before I could answer. Lily said, "Some people lose once and call it unfair." Amber's mouth opened. Audrey touched her arm. Audrey said, "Let's go." I looked at Audrey. I said, "Your charts looked familiar at state." Audrey's face went pale for half a second. Audrey said, "I cited my sources." I said, "Good, then you won't mind if the judges review them." She stepped closer. Audrey whispered, "Ethan, don't start another war." Lily said, "He didn't start the first one." Audrey looked Lily up and down. Audrey said coldly, "Careful. One state plaque doesn't make you important." Lily lifted the plaque. Photo taped on the wall and tapped her own face. Lily said, "Important enough for you to stand here talking about me?" Mike, arriving with chocolate milk, said, "That is growth." Audrey walked away faster than usual. I sent the chart concern to Ms. Harper. She told me not to confront Audrey again and forwarded it properly. 2 days later, Audrey's state presentation was flagged for unattributed data use. It was not enough to destroy her future, but enough to remove her from the district honor showcase. She cried in the counseling office. Amber blamed me, Derek blamed Lily, the school forum blamed everybody for 3 hours and moved on to prom drama. But Audrey did not move on. She waited until I was alone near the back stairwell after a late team meeting. Audrey said, "You're enjoying this new role, aren't you?" I closed my project case. I said, "What role?" Audrey said, "Judge, Punisher, Defender of Lily Carter." I said, "You used to call that accountability when it helped your resume." She flinched. Audrey said, "I made one citation mistake." I said, "Then correct it and keep walking." Audrey's voice sharpened. Audrey snapped, "You threw away everything we built." I looked at her. I said, "We didn't build anything. I helped. You collected." Her eyes turned wet, but no tears fell. Audrey said, "You think Lily won't use you too?" Lily's voice came from the stairwell above. Lily said, "I build my own parts." Audrey spun around. Lily came down carrying the tubing kit. Her face was red, but her voice held. Lily said, "And when I don't know how, I say I don't know." Audrey laughed once. Audrey said, "That sounds noble now. Wait until college eats you alive." Lily stepped beside me. Lily said, "I was already eaten alive here." Still standing. Audrey had no clean answer. She left. The final threat came before nationals in Chicago. Derek had been waiting for one big move. He found it in money. I was closing Lawson's garage at 8:30 on a Wednesday when his black SUV pulled in. Lily was there with me, sitting on an oil crate, labeling parts for the transport case. Mike was sweeping because Mr. Lawson paid him in pizza. Derek came in with an envelope. Tyler stayed in the SUV, looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. Derek tossed the envelope onto the workbench. Derek said, $10,000. You and Lily get sick before nationals. Audrey gets the district showcase spot back. Westbridge avoids embarrassment. And you can buy your dad better tires. Lily stood. Mike stopped sweeping. I looked at the envelope. I said, "You really think every problem has your dad's wallet in it?" Derek smiled. Derek said, "Most do." Lily said, "We earned nationals." Derek turned to her. Derek said, "You earned a pity storyline. Don't confuse that with ability." Lily picked up one metal washer from the bench and set it spinning on the concrete. It wobbled, then steadied, then dropped. Lily said, "That washer has more balance than you." Mike pointed the broom at her. Mike said, "Bridge queen with the line." Derek lunged toward the envelope, but I grabbed it first and held it up toward the garage camera. I said clearly, "Derek Walsh just offered me and Lily $10,000 to miss the National Innovation Finals." Derek's smile vanished. Mike lifted his phone from behind the broom handle. Mike said, "And the backup camera says hello." Derek cursed and reached for my phone. Lily stepped between us with the tubing case in both hands. Lily shouted, "Don't touch him." Derek shoved the case. Tubes scattered across the floor. Lily stumbled back and hit the workbench. I shoved Derek away hard enough that he crashed into a stack of tires. Mike yelled, "Camera, camera, Camera, Mr. Lawson came out of the office with a wrench in his hand. Mr. Lawson barked. Everybody freeze. Derek pointed at me. Derek shouted. He attacked me. Mr. Lawson looked at the envelope. The scattered parts, Lily rubbing her shoulder, and Mike's phone. Mr. Lawson said. Kid, rich lies still sound cheap. Derek left after promising lawsuits, expulsions, and family ruin. Mr. Lawson called Principal Marsh, then Dad, then the police non-emergency line. Lily picked up the tubes one by one with shaking hands. I crouched beside her. Lily said quietly, "He really thought we'd take it." I said, "He thought wrong." She looked at the envelope on the workbench. Lily said, "Nobody ever paid me to disappear before." I said, "Nobody gets to." The next morning, Derek was removed from campus pending investigation. His father arrived at school in a suit and left red-faced. Principal Marsh called us into her office and watched the garage video with the district attorney liaison on speaker. Mr. Walsh tried to call it a misunderstanding. Lily pointed at the screen where Derek shoved the case. Lily said, "That part understood me pretty clearly." Principal Marsh nodded. Principal Marsh said, "Derek will not attend nationals. He will not contact either of you." Audrey was not punished for Derek's bribe. But she stopped talking to him in public. She watched me from across the hall like a person watching a door close. Nationals felt bigger than Westbridge had ever allowed Lily to imagine. Chicago, convention lights, rows of projects, students with matching blazers and sponsor logos. We set up between a robotics team from Texas and a clean energy team from Oregon. Lily touched our display board, then pulled her hand back. Lily whispered, "Everyone here looks like they belong." I tightened a sensor wire. I said, "Then look busy." Mike leaned over the table with a bag of pretzels. Mike said, "You belong." "I don't. I'm here for snacks and emotional support." MS. Harper adjusted the route chart and smiled. MS. Harper said, "Lily, run the flow demo once." Lily did. Perfect. Then again. Perfect. Judges arrived in waves. I handled the cost model. Lily handled the routing system. One judge asked her to explain why her longer path saved power. Lily picked up a clear tube and bent it. Sharply, Lily said, "This is what we had first. It looks short, but every turn makes the pump work harder." Then she looped another tube in a smoother curve. Lily said, "This looks longer, but the water stops fighting. Cheap parts survive when you stop making them fight." The judge wrote that down word for word. Another judge asked, "What math did you use?" Lily took a breath. Lily said, "I learned the formal math after I saw the shape." MS. Harper helped me match what I saw to the formulas. The judge looked up. Judge said, "That is a valid design process." Lily smiled then, not a big smile, a real one. During the break, a university representative from Millstone Engineering came by. He wore a badge and carried a tablet. Representative said, "Which one of you redesigned the flow path?" Lily froze. I pointed to her. I said, "She did." The representative turned to Lily. Representative said, "Do you have a portfolio?" Lily almost said no. MS. Harper cut in. MS. Harper said, "She will by Friday." Mike whispered, "We're making a portfolio by Friday." I said, "Apparently." The representative handed Lily a card. Representative said, "Send it. Your grades don't tell this whole story." Lily stared at the card for 10 full seconds. Lily said, "People usually stop at my grades." Representative said, "Engineers shouldn't stop at bad data." She gripped the card like it was a passport. The National Scholar exam results came the same weekend. They posted online before the final award ceremony. I opened the page on MS. Harper's laptop because my phone screen had cracked at the garage. Mike stood behind me chanting, "Top 10, top 10, top 10. Lily stood beside me holding the representative's card. The page loaded. My name sat at number 1, National Rank 1, Ethan Miller, Westbridge High. Mike screamed so loud the Texas robotics team jumped. Mike shouted, "National number 1. That's my guy." MS. Harper covered her mouth, then hugged me before remembering she was a teacher and stepping back. Lily threw both arms around me and almost knocked the chair over. Lily said, "You did it." I said, "We still have awards tonight." Mike shouted. He says calmly, like a monster, "News moved fast." Principal Marsh called. Mom called crying from work. Dad called from a rest stop and said he had to pull over because he could not read the message and drive. Audrey texted one word, "Congratulations." I did not answer. That evening, the Innovation Awards filled the main Ballroom, Lily wore the blue dress again, but this time she stood taller in it. I wore Dad's tie, which was too wide and 20 years out of style. Mike said it made me look like a substitute pastor. Our category came late. Third place went to Oregon, second to Texas, first place, Applied Student Innovation, went to Westbridge High, Ethan Miller and Lily Carter. Lily did not move. I touched her elbow. I said, "That's us." She walked onto the stage like every laugh in every hallway had turned into steps under her feet. The host handed us the plaque and announced a Student Innovation grant. Then he paused. Host said, "The judges also recognize Lily Carter with a special design distinction for outstanding practical engineering insight." The room clapped. Lily's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The Millstone representative stood in the side aisle, clapping too. Mike yelled, "Bridge Queen." The applause got louder. Lily took the smaller plaque with both hands. Cameras flashed. She leaned toward the microphone because the host gestured for her to say something. Lily said, "Thank you. I used to think I was stupid because I failed the way people tested me. I'm not saying tests don't matter, I'm saying people do." The ballroom stood. I looked into the audience and saw Ms. Harper wiping her eyes. Principal Marsh clapped hard. Mike clapped like he was trying to break his hands. Audrey stood near the back beside Amber, frozen. No Derek, no Mr. Grant, no laughter. Back at Westbridge, the return was louder than the departure. The school put up a banner before first bell. "Congratulations Ethan Miller, National Scholar Rank 1, and Lily Carter, National Innovation Design Distinction." Students crowded the lobby. Some cheered because they meant it. Some cheered because winning changes cowards into fans. Derek was gone. Transferred to a private disciplinary program after his father's booster board conduct became part of a district review. Tyler changed schools. Mr. Grant resigned before the ethics hearing ended. The official email said he wanted to pursue new opportunities. Mike said, "Yeah, opportunities where cameras don't exist." Audrey tried to survive the shift gracefully. She congratulated Lily in front of a teacher. Lily said, "Thank you." Audrey said, "I hope there are no hard feelings." Lily looked at her. Lily said, "There are accurate memories." Mike dropped his chocolate milk. The lobby went quiet. Audrey's face reddened. Audrey said, "I was under pressure too." I said, "Then write an essay about it yourself." A few students laughed. Audrey walked away. Her honor showcase spot was gone. 2 of her college applications had been updated after the citation review. She still had options, but no crown. Derek had no hallway. Mr. Grant had no office. Lily had a university representative waiting for her portfolio. I had a full scholarship interview scheduled and a national rank nobody could explain away. Ms. Harper helped Lily build the portfolio by Friday. Photos, diagrams, bridge test, pump routing, written explanations in Lily's own words, not polished to death, honest, clear, hers. Millstone replied within a week. They invited her to a summer engineering access program with scholarship support and a conditional pathway interview. Lily read the email 5 times at my kitchen table. Mom put down a plate of grilled cheese beside her. Mom said, "Food first, future second." Lily laughed and cried at the same time. Dad came in from the driveway and asked, "Good news?" Lily handed him the phone. Dad read slowly, nodded, and said, "Looks like they spelled your name right. Strong start." Lily smiled bigger than I had ever seen. Graduation came with clear skies and a football field full of folding chairs. Lily was not valedictorian. She was not suddenly top of the class by magic. Her transcript still carried the damage of years spent being measured wrong. But she walked with a design award cord around her neck and a Millstone summer invitation in her folder. That was real. I walked with the National Scholar cord, the Innovation Medal, and Dad's old tie under my gown because Mom insisted it looked distinguished, even after Mike said it looked like I sold insurance to ghosts. Audrey crossed the stage to polite applause. Derek was not there. Mr. Grant was not on the faculty row. Ms. Harper was, clapping for every student like she meant each one. When Lily's name was called, the applause started uneven, then grew. She froze at the first step. I stood from my row and clapped harder. Mike stood too. Then half the senior class stood, because some people need permission to be decent. Lily crossed the stage and took her diploma. Principal Marsh shook her hand and said something that made Lily nod quickly. When my name was called, Dad shouted, "That's my son." Mom cried into tissues she claimed she did not bring. Mike yelled, national number 1. Somebody yelled, Bridge Queen, and Lily, already seated, covered her face laughing. After the ceremony, a local reporter from the Chicago Story found us near the fence. Reporter asked, Ethan, at the start of senior year, people mocked you for standing beside Lily, now you're national rank 1 and she's an award-winning student designer. What did everyone miss? I looked at Lily. She held her diploma in one hand and her design plaque in the other. I looked at the students who had laughed, the teachers who had watched, the parents taking photos, the banner snapping above the field. I said, they saw a rank and thought it was a person. The reporter turned to Lily. Reporter asked, and what do you want to say to students who are told they're too far behind? Lily held the plaque tighter. Lily said, learn the way you learn, then make them test what you can actually do. Mike whispered loudly, put that on a shirt. Audrey walked by with Amber and stopped a few feet away. She looked at me, then at Lily. Audrey said quietly, I was wrong about you. Lily said, yes. Audrey waited for softness. Lily gave her honesty instead. Audrey nodded once and left. No fight, no crown, no stage, just an ending she did not control. Lily turned to me. Lily said, you really meant yes that day. I took her backpack from one shoulder again, the same way I had in the hallway months before. I said, I meant it before they understood it. She smiled. Mike shouted from Dad's pickup, lovebirds, hurry up. Your victory cake, says Eric and Linda, because the bakery failed again. Lily laughed so hard she leaned against me. Mom waved us over. Dad started the truck. The engine caught clean because we had finally fixed the starter. Westbridge High stood behind us, smaller than it had looked when everyone was laughing. Lily climbed into the back seat beside the plaques. I got in after her with my diploma on my lap. Mike held up the cake box like a trophy. Mom said, don't spill frosting on the cords. Dad pulled out of the parking lot. Lily looked back once at the school, then forward at the road. Nobody called her last place. Nobody called me crazy, and if they still wanted to laugh, they had to do it from behind us.